With changes and things that have happened, let's talk about these L-form bacteria. And because this just blew my mind in your book, just completely sent me on a whole rabbit hole of delight, of intellectual delight. Tell me about these bacteria and how they change. So my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding is that when you take an antibiotic, rather than killing the bacteria, it's changing the form to an L form, and that in the L form, that's where it starts to, it has the potential to create chronic disease and all sorts of troubles for us. And so the goal for those of us who are dealing with an illness would be to change the bacteria back to its original form, correct?
Correct, absolutely. This phenomenon is called pleomorphism, and it has been researched from the end of 1800s by renowned scientists, the really real scientists, many of whom can be considered to be geniuses. What they've discovered, starting from Béchamp, who worked at the same time as Pasteur, and Pasteur is the one that served the pharmaceutical, the first pharmaceutical industry on the planet very well with his ideas. And they've picked up his ideas, the germ theory that microbes are out there to attack us everywhere. We need to be afraid of the microbes, of the viruses, bacteria, and sterilize everything and take antibiotics and so on. The pharmaceutical industry saw a huge potential in that. That is why they've picked up Pasteur's ideas and made it the global phenomenon it is. While Béchamp worked at the same time with Pasteur, and he was talking about completely opposite things. And he was one of the first people who discovered pleomorphism. What he's discovered that microbes cannot be killed. They cannot be killed with anything. They don't die, whether we use antibiotics or high temperatures or antiseptics or anything else, they do not die. They just change form. They lose what happens with bacteria, and that research we already have. And there are researchers nowadays who are working with these bacteria, researching them and giving us amazing results. What these bacteria do, they lose their cell wall when they're exposed to antibiotics. And for a long time, our scientists thought that if the bacterium loses its cell wall, it must be dead. It's died, we killed it, fine. Not at all. They lose their cell wall and they become L-forms microbes. They're called L-forms or cell wall deficient bacteria. And these things are far more dangerous than the original bacterium that we try to kill. Far more dangerous. They get inside cells, they hide inside nucleus, they hide in various organelles, and they're like a blob. And this blob has no cell wall, and it can take any shape, any form, and it can evolve into different forms of microbes, different microbial forms. A bacterium can become a fungus. A virus can become a bacterium. A bacterium can become a protozoa. It can grow little flagellae, start swimming around, then drop the flagellae, turn into a fungus. So there are no specific microbes that the microbiology has been studying for hundreds of years since microscopes were invented. And there are huge classifications with names, Latin names for these microbes. And this is this microbe, and this is the description of it. It looks like that, and it behaves like this. And when you use different dyes, it dyes into this kind of color. What pleomorphism shows us, that there is a free market of genetics in the microbial world. All microbes throw out genes into the environment and pick up genes from other microbes. And they can change and evolve. So a bacterium can become a fungus. And there are creatures in our nature which go through stages of being first something like a virus, a tiny, tiny little creature, and then it turns into a bacterium, and then it turns into a protozoan, and then it turns into a fungus, starts growing micelli, starts growing fruiting bodies, and then the spores are released. And the spores are basically like viruses, and the spores again go through the same cycle again. And it is one creature. And microbiology has described these different stages of development of this creature as completely different microbes. And our pharmaceutical industry has different drugs for presumably destroying these things. And they don't die, they just evolve. We now have research by modern researchers. The references are all in my blue book. and gut and physiology syndrome, where these L forms, these cell wall deficient microbes and fungi, are found in autistic children and mothers of autistic children. They pass through placenta. The mother passes them to her child during pregnancy and through breastfeeding. They pass through the air, through various things, through secretions in the body, and they can cause long-term chronic diseases.
All right, everybody, if you found this topic interesting, you want to share information with the world, go to boilmania.com and comment. And it's free, no charge. And this way people can search for things and we can share information and grow together.